Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab. But I do what I do for you. I got something nice for you today, a good lesson, some information that right thinkers need to have. So, you know how we do it. Let's go. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message, the message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right thinking mission. Yeah, that's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life, and that's what it is in practice, right? Through mental and spiritual discipline, daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. If you're a right thinker, my mission is to get you to know thyself. And if you're practicing right thinking philosophy, your goal should be to know thyself. You see, we're going with this, so let's move on to know thyself. A person who knows not, excuse me, I asked the question, do you know you? The answer is rhetorical, but if you don't have it for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and thinks that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. That's cool. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and to Mayat, be true. Today, right thinkers, let's talk about the origins of the scripture of, yep, yours truly, the Pert Heru. Okay, this is going to break down the concept of our book that y'all call the Book of the Dead. I'm explaining it for you, break it down for you. Hope you get a better understanding of the concepts. Okay, let's go. The title is The Origins. The Origins of the Scripture of the Pert Heru. All right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the text which comprised the New Pert Heru originated in the far distant past in the form of the pyramid texts. Okay? They were codified as utterances. And when understood, and I gotta tell you about my right thinking philosophy, if practiced right could lead you, the right thinker, the practitioner, to what? To read and expand, excuse me, to reach and expand levels of consciousness, raising your conscious level, knowing thyself consciously, becoming knowledgeable with not a bunch of superstitious belief, but with facts and stuff that you can manifest for yourself, improve for yourself. He exists in you, not out there. Okay, so watch this. This whole point is this is symbolically referred to what? As gaining power over who? The gods and the goddesses, the aspects of your character, yourself. And watch this, to become a glorified soul, excuse me, or an enlightened being. Akus, one who knows themselves, who have knowledge of themselves. Right? Thinkers, that's what we want to walk around knowing who we are. That's all. That's it. Now, the common view of the pyramid text is that what? They were the earliest. Again, they were the earliest known versions of what? The book of y'all call the Book of the Dead. The seams, watch this, they seem to be compositions. I got a bunch of books that I write in, so everybody performed compositions of scripture, okay, which referred to a king who is part of a what? A ritual wherein the offerings are given in the temples and spells are uttered, sound like church, and or chanted for the what? The purpose of obtaining power or control over what? The spirits of the who? Dead. And over the god and goddesses. They had a concept, okay? Practice of philosophy, live by it, manifested, and when this life is over, you get to live in what they call the afterlife. But this is the book that they used to follow, and everybody had different perceptions, different concepts, but they all was given an understanding of what they call Mayat. We get in there. And watch this. So, in knowing this, this has been the traditional interpretation by who? Egyptologists and others who have what? Not had the opportunity to what? To study or practice the mystical teachings from around the world. Some people don't have the knowledge and understanding of what's being presented to them. Those are the ones you have to be careful about. But they don't know, they'll make up. That's the problem. But watch this. Now, if these studies are entered into a open mind, and if one is willing to read the text within the context of what? Mysticism, the purpose of the text. Okay? And an expanded belief in a potential of human experience. Remember, in this physical body is human. We're here to have the experience of being human. But we come here and forget who we are and become more human than spiritual. That's our problem. We need to get from human back to spirit. You can do that with learning, living, and being your best self, aka right thinker. Now, there's a much different understanding arises from the literal interpretations, watch this, which have been provided through so far. Now, from a mystical perspective, it must be understood that the utterance of the Pert and Heru were not only for individuals as they were approaching time of death, no, or who had already died, no, listen, but they also incorporated rituals designed to engender a mystical experience. This is why you practice religion. You learn the myth, you practice the ritual, and you manifest your own mystical experience by becoming one with your higher self. It's real simple. I hope you're understanding that. Watch this. When you have your mystical experience for each participant, that means I have mine, you have yours, he have his, she have. Everyone is different, but you have to have it in order to really be able to understand when you're sharing blessings because you're living right and doing right. You can't share that blessing with somebody who ain't living and doing right. Why? They're not going to understand. Simple. Moving on. These initiates were not waiting or just preparing for the time of death to use the knowledge. No. I just gave a lesson. Christ didn't become Christ-like after death. He was Christ-like in the flesh. That's what he wanted his followers to understand. Moving on. But watch this. At the time of death, to use the knowledge of the netherworld. We know about it. We talk about it. We theorize about it. But we teach you how to even get there. Christians tell you, live right, go to heaven. Do wrong, you go to hell. Same thing. Same concept. You can dress truth up any way you want. But if when you undress it, it's still the truth, that's all that matters. Moving on. They were interested in in discovering the mysteries, the unknown, of the other world, even while still alive. We want to have an idea and a concept about that other world before we get there. Ain't nobody gonna come back and tell us what it was. All we can do is theorize and conceptualize and mythologize and allegoricalize all stories that nobody really knows why. Everybody had experience for themselves. And once you have yours, you ain't gonna come back and tell. Okay, moving on. Unless you get reincarnated. And you still won't know because you forget. So moving on. Watch this. So thus, the book is not to be for the dead. Spiritual knowledge is not for the dead. It's preparing you for when you die. Moving on. But watch this. For those who truly want to become alive. Where? In the other life. Sorry, calm down. I'm excited. Therefore, 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 the earliest, again, known versions of the text are compositions of scripture which refer to initiate you who is part of a ritual where offerings are made and special words are recited, sound familiar again, uttered and chanted for the purpose of what? Transforming the consciousness of all individuals, for they can obtain what? Power or control over what? The spirits or the demons. Again, Set, demon, Heru, spirit. They both are in you. Your control over them is what's going to make the difference in you. And every individual has that opportunity. So don't get caught up in what somebody else is doing or ain't doing. You better focus on what you need to be doing. That's the goal of right thinkers. And watch this. And watch this. Control over the spirits of the demons. You know what the demons are? Your egoistic tendencies. You want to satisfy you. That's the demon in you. Not good. Lower nature, higher nature. And watch this. And over what? The gods and the goddesses, your virtuous qualities. If you live right, practice right thing philosophy, and do the right things, you're going to defeat your ego. Why? Because it's not running you to do things that's going to cause you problems. That's why you're focused, you're living on your higher level, higher consciousness, aka Heru. Set is you. Understand that. And you, every time you do what you want to do and don't deal with God because you don't edge God out, because you're selfish and egoistic, all those qualities is not godly. So you got to get them out to become godlike. You got to eradicate all those bad things in your personality. Hello. Some of us find it hard to do. Do you? Let me get down. We will not attempt to what? To provide a literal translation of the text. Why? Since this would lead to, here you go, intellectual stagnation. It would be like, watch this, reading a poem, and that's fine, but trying to apply its meaning literally, like reading the Bible and try to use it literally. It won't work. Simple as that. Why? Because it wasn't meant for that. That's why. And I'm telling you right here, we did this back in the ancient times. We didn't take stuff literally. Why? And critiquing it on what? A grammatical merits. Well, he misspelled this and he misenunciated that. Really? These are people's stories about their lives, and you're gonna critique them on that. That's the concept. Watch this. Judgmental people will do that. Find any reason to find a flaw in something that don't match their conscience or their concepts. Now watch this. Mystical literature should be, again, understood as what? A grand metaphor, a philosophical concept which seeks to what? Explain the origins of creation. I give you the creation story all the time. Why? It starts there. And humanity, excuse me. I'm giving life lesson. Why? Because these are the things that you can implement in your life and live. Hence, life lesson. Along, watch this. Now, along with providing a understanding, not overstanding, but understanding of who you are, of the what? Your transcendental modes of what? Consciousness, wake, sleep, conscious, unconscious. You get it? Become super conscious is what? Having knowledge of self. But you have different modes of consciousness. I got a lesson for that coming up for you too. But watch this. And you have the human experience. Again, the purpose of the human experience is to become conscious of who you are. For real. God's in the flesh. Moving on. This mode was, what's this? This mode may be termed, you ready? This mode I'm getting you to right things to understand is higher consciousness, God consciousness, the supreme being, the universal soul, supreme consciousness, etc. A whole bunch of names mean the same thing. If you understand any one of them, you in the ballpark. If you don't understand none of them, you ain't even in the game. So understand that. Becoming conscious meaning you know some things about yourself, aka your higher self, your true self, your ego self. Don't get stuck on stupid, so to speak. If you think satisfaction for the body, the physical, monetary things is gonna make you happy, I've been teaching that for the last 5 years. Come on, get a grip. Move on. So watch this. What you're saying is mystical teachers, while existing in the historical context, again, history is in reality what? It's not concerned with history or ordinary human reality. Why? Since there are in a end transient. Anything you're doing in this physical life is transient. Why? It ain't lasting. The physical body will die. Simple. So you got a transient and you got illusionary and you got irrelevant to what? The attainment of higher consciousness. So therefore, watch this. While certain historical information is needed, that's what they got religion for, to bring us back to historical information, but it's needed to set a context for what? Our study in relation to what? World history, and emphasis will be placed on what? Revealing the mystical meaning contained in it. I will break down what I'm explaining to you so that you can understand it. That way you can use it. To give you a weapon and don't teach you how to use it is dumb. Uncle Sam give you that gun, and before you use it, you know every aspect of that gun. Same thing about yourself. How about that? Be a gun. Learn every aspect of yourself and become a dangerous weapon in the right hands, and a bad weapon in the wrong hands. That's brains, consciousness. Okay? We use it way wrong. Moving on. But because it is what? Because it is this meaning alone that we will lead the spiritual aspirant right thinkers to what? To attain. I got one goal, one mission, and for all my right thinker aspirants to attain the goal of mysticism, meaning solve the mystery of yourself, for yourself, by yourself. That is transcending what? Ordinary human consciousness. The ego is ordinary. Heru is super, extraordinary, Superman. Only thing he changed when he put glasses on. Now I'm Mark Wright. My man doing it. No, excuse me. I'm Mark Wright. My man Superman. But I put the glasses, I become Superman. Really? Or you did take off the glasses. Nobody recognized him. But the concept is you have a dual identity. One you can show, one you can keep under wraps. And when you need to, you bring it out. Superheroes do it all the time. But you can have the same power by controlling yourself, aka the ego. Moving on, where we at? And we will lead the spiritual aspect to the gate of occultism. And watch this, the transient human consciousness. And by doing this and discovering what? Your deeper realities that will lie where? Within the heart. I put the emblem over here for a reason. The eye is in the heart. The heart has the eye of everything that goes on in you. So, in this sense, the Pert Heru is absolutely true and factual. What? In every detail, mystical teachings are primarily the mystical teachings are primarily concerned with what? The here and now, as well as the transcendental wisdom, and not specifically with any particular historical event. Don't know one event history stand for everything. That's the aspect, that's the concept to teach a specific lesson at that particular time. They, watch this. Now the use of mythological stories, what? And rituals, traditions should not, be confused with history. These are lessons to learn. They got to do it. Y'all read that book and you swear them people existed. But my man asked you, none of those people in the book have a grave site. Well, the fact that they never existed never come up. Moving on, moving past that. But you got myths. And what are myths? Myths are used by who? Sages, teachers, master teachers, in order to what? To convey mystical teachings about the human condition, yourself, and the mysteries of what? Your human heart, which is God. Hello. I'm giving you spiritual knowledge, God knowledge. Oh, that's technically the same thing. The scripture started out doing that. That's the purpose. I'm still following the script. Moving on. Thus, watch this. Any right thinker should study which does not affirm what? The transitional nature of a myth is regulated to what? The understanding only the superficial exterior meanings of the teaching. Meaning, I tell you, religion is theistic. Meaning it's one level. The first level is just the beginning. You have to go beyond that. That's the point. And when you first start the first level in anything, you start at the first degree. An apprentice, whatever it is, but immortals, whatever it is. But you have to rise up in what? In consciousness and learning. That's how you do it. Let me wrap this up. Almost done. Now, here we go. In early times, the teachings of the Medjugorje, divine speech, the Egyptian mysteries, and we call, again, my practice, Shita Netta, that's what I practice, the secret way of the spirit. God is spirit. I'm teaching you the secret way of God. Trying the best I could to get you to understand that. And this is old. This ain't new. I ain't making nothing up. I ain't inventing nothing. I'm just like the Greeks now. I'm just borrowing Egyptian knowledge. But I'm teaching my people so they can learn it. Moving on. Watch this. We learned in Shita Netta, the secret way of the spirit, which was inscribed in the mortuary pyramids of the wealthy nobles. Remember, a nobleman is an enlightened man, a respectful, noble person. That's what a Mason want to be, nobleman. They fall short, but that's another lesson. But wealthy and noble, they don't always go together. Because you're wealthy, don't make you noble. And you can be noble without being wealthy. Okay, moving on. But these texts were called the pyramid texts. And watch this. Later, the text was inscribed where? On the mortuary coffins themselves. And what happened? They were called and referred to as the coffin texts. But now, correct me if this. To get a coffin, it's buried pretty much 6 feet in the ground. To dig it up, you got to go 6 feet. We can't go around digging up people now, but they do it to us on a regular basis. Just bring that to light. Moving on. But the next evolution, in the codification of the ancient Egyptian teachers were used from papyrus, aka paper. We had a library, Alexandria Library, millions of paper information, knowledge that we'll never know, never. Why? They burned it all up. Who? The Greeks. Moving on. Your boy Alexander the Numbnuts. The version, I'm about to wrap it up. The version of the Pert and Heru, which was recorded where in the earlier periods of ancient Egyptian history are not exactly the same as those which were inscribed in the earliest periods. Why? While most of the teachings of the later versions can be traced to earlier origins, many new utterances were added by who? Different priests and priestesses. So therefore, the exposition of the teachings represent an evolution in mystical thought, which in many ways was refined and expanded over a period of more than, you ready? 5,000 years. This is not new information. This is not new knowledge. This is common knowledge to the ancients. Okay, understand that. Wrapping it up. Thus, the later versions, which everybody familiar with, are a combination, again, of ancient original teachings and more modern expansions and the additions to the teachings. Okay, they modified it, they added it. Okay, that's fine. They did the same thing with the Bible. I'm just let you know. Ain't no difference. Watch. But the teachings, which were not part of the original, they put stuff in. Now they adding. They ain't taking out, they just add more on. And why they doing that? The earlier text did not include vignettes, meaning pictures showing you. Okay, so the addition of vignettes is an important evolution in the transmission of the teaching to help the teachers get their point across. The picture worth 1,000 words, and since it adds a new dimension in understanding to give a visual quality to the scripture. You ain't just reading it. I'll show you the book. I'll give you pictures. This is what they're showing you. Okay. Those was in the tombs of the females. That's a female there also. They didn't have this male-female nonsense. They wasn't caught up in that. Everything was fair across the board. That's why I teach equal opportunities. Why? If it's bad for men, it's bad for women. I got a lesson coming up. Well, why is it okay for two women to be together, but it's frowned upon when there's two men? Both of them are wrong. Next lesson. Got something for that. Another lesson. Moving on. Let me get this out the way. But now, when you had the vignettes, the addition of them was important to help the scripture by showing pictures. The vignettes first appeared in where? The coffin text. I just showed the picture. They start putting them up so you can see it's the female. Okay. Certain scriptures, such as the chapters 16 to 143, were always included in the vignette. It illustrated and it was illustrated, embellished with pictures. Now they're starting to sway you. Now they try to get you to think what they want you to think. That's what I got a problem with. Okay? Religion teaches you what to think. I teach you to think right. That's what the Egyptian wants you to do. Think for yourself. Move on. But thinking is a priority. And in the form of what? And never included text. Some just show pictures, didn't have no writing, just show the picture. So it can, along with what this, it should be understood what? That the teachings presented in the book itself are implicit, meaning that there is a certain amount of understanding which one must already have in order to fully understand the book even before picking it up for the first time. If you're going to learn anything about Egypt, you need to start from the beginning, work your way up. Why? Some of the stuff is going to be a little advanced. I understand that too. So moving on, that's the concept. But also, once the book is picked up, here you go, and studied, it must be understood, lived, manifest to make its point, and that its wisdom is not only what transmitted by words, but also through the visual or the pictorial nature of the scripture itself. They give you everything you need to follow the program. The process, again, I'm going to take you to initiation. That's coming up next. I'm about to initiate all my right thinkers into the order of right thinker philosophy. Another lesson, but moving on. But watch this. The process of initiation is what? It serves to provide you, the student, right thinker, with what? Daily information about what? The signs and symbols and the subtle meaning of the nuances of the philosophy that I'm teaching. I modified it. I took an old concept, polished it off, dressed it up, and modified it. Didn't change it, just modified it, added on, okay, to keep the problem so it can be relevant today. That's my point. And this is why, with the exception of chapter 4, there are few explanations or glosses in the text itself. Why? Certain chapters, such as chapter 33, are like a compilation and refinements of earlier concepts. They just better in it, while containing what? Their principles. There are no groupings of utterance in the earlier works which compile the negative confessions or precepts of, you ready? Maya. That's why it starts with I have not, I have not. And the concepts of what? Laws which must be followed in order to what? You ready? To purify your heart. As found in the later papyrus, the paper versions of the what? The Pert and Heru, the revised versions. In this aspect of a later versions does not represent a new concept, nope, or innovations, but a refinement and an expansion of that which was presented in the inception of the teachings and first recorded in the form of the pyramid text. I keep the pyramid for that purpose. I'm teaching the concepts that we got from the pyramid. Hello, that's the lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. Right thinkers, again, imparting. May your right thinkers all live to be 100 and me 100 minus a day. So I never know that right thinkers like you have passed away. I got more for you. I'll be back.